Bullies harassed schoolgirls every day after school until a group of veterans stepped in. They always said the walk home from school was supposed to be the most peaceful part of the day. But for 14-year-old Aisha and her little sister, Zara, it had become the most terrifying. The story begins on a late autumn afternoon, golden sunlight falling through the tall trees lining the quiet suburban street. Dry leaves crackle beneath their shoes as the girls clutch their backpacks. Aisha keeps glancing over her shoulder, her breath shallow, her heartbeat quick. Zara, only 10, walks closer than usual, gripping her sister's sleeve. Then the voices echo again. "Hey, look who's here." The little crybabies. 3 older boys step out from behind the wall near the bus stop, their silhouettes cutting into the sunlight. The tallest one kicks a rock toward them, smirking. Aisha's jaw tightens. She hates that her hands tremble. She hates that every day feels the same. The boys circle them. One yanks Zara's backpack. Another mocks Aisha's accent. A third throws their notebooks to the ground, watching the pages scatter like frightened birds. It wasn't new. It had been happening every day for 2 weeks. Every day, Aisha imagined telling someone. Every day, she swallowed the words because she didn't want to worry her mother, who worked double shifts and already carried too much. But this day was different, because someone else was watching. Across the street, through the sun glare on the glass windows of a small biker-owned coffee shop, a man lowered his mug. His name was Raymond, 48, broad shoulders, salt and pepper beard, and eyes that instantly sharpened when something felt wrong. Behind him, 2 other bikers, his closest friends, men who served with him during their military years, followed his gaze. "Ray, what is it?" asked Mateo, leaning forward. Ray didn't answer. He was already on his feet. As the boys shoved the schoolgirls again, Ray pushed open the door. The bell above the frame chimed softly, almost out of place in the unfolding tension. If you believe that courage can change someone's life, take a moment to like, comment, and share this message from Kindness Valley, the narrator whispers. Sometimes, a small act of bravery becomes the turning point someone prayed for. Ray walked across the street with steady, deliberate steps. "Hey," he said, voice deep but controlled. "That's enough." The boys froze. Aisha looked up, fear mixed with surprise. The bully leader squared his shoulders, trying to act tough. "Who are you?" the boy demanded. Ray didn't raise his voice. "Someone who's had enough of watching you pick on people half your size." Another biker, Lewis, stepped beside Ray. Then Mateo. 3 towering men, leather jackets catching the sunlight, tattoos visible on their forearms, symbols of service, sacrifice, and loyalty. The boys shrank instantly. Ray pointed to the scattered notebooks. "Pick them up." The street fell silent except for the soft rustling of pages as the boys obeyed. Zara clung to Aisha, wide-eyed. After the bullies hurried off, Ray knelt so he was eye level with the girls. "You two okay?" Aisha nodded, but her eyes brimmed with tears she had refused to shed earlier. "Thank you," she whispered, voice trembling. Ray smiled gently. "No one should walk home afraid. Not on our watch." The girls walked with them to the end of the street, and Ray watched until they safely turned into their neighborhood. Something in Aisha's fragile smile stayed with him long after they were gone. Later that night, Aisha lay in bed staring at the ceiling. She replayed Ray's voice, the calm authority in it. She wondered why strangers cared more than the adults at school who brushed off her complaints. She wondered why courage always felt easier for other people. Have you ever felt like your voice didn't matter until someone proved it did? The next afternoon, when the final bell rang, Aisha's stomach twisted again, but for the first time in days, hope lingered under the fear. As she and Zara stepped outside, the bully stood waiting once more. But today, something else was waiting too. For motorcycles, thick tires, polished chrome, lined the sidewalk. And beside them, Ray and the veterans stood like silent guardians. No threats, no confrontation, just presence. Aisha's breath caught. The bullies stopped mid-step. Their faces morphed from arrogance to confusion, then defeat. Without a word, they backed away, disappearing behind the row of houses. Zara whispered, "They're gone." Ray lifted a hand in a small wave. "Just walking the same route today?" "Coincidence," he teased gently. Aisha smiled for real this time. For the next week, the veterans simply showed up, not as bodyguards, but as neighbors. Sometimes they chatted with shop owners, sometimes they sipped tea near the school gates, sometimes they adjusted their bikes or laughed among themselves. Their presence alone transformed the entire street. One day, when Aisha gathered the courage to ask why they cared, Ray looked thoughtful. During service, he said, we learned something important. You never leave someone behind. Not on the battlefield, and not in life. Lewis added, and sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let someone know they're not alone. Zura beamed. Aisha swallowed the lump in her throat. If you've ever wished someone stood up for you, the narrator adds softly, go ahead and subscribe to Kindness Valley. Stories like these remind us that compassion is a choice we can all make. The change didn't just end with the bullies disappearing. Word spread. Parents came forward. Teachers paid attention. Other students spoke up. The street that once echoed with fear now hummed with unexpected unity. A week later, Aisha brought a small box of homemade cookies to the veterans as thanks. She held it out with shaking hands. Ray looked surprised. You didn't have to. I wanted to, Aisha said. Because I wasn't brave before. But you helped me feel like maybe I could be. Ray rested a hand on her shoulder. Listen, kiddo. You've always had that bravery. We just reminded you it was there. Aisha blinked back tears. That night, as the sun dipped behind the rooftops, she and Zara walked home freely for the first time in weeks. No shadows lurking. No trembling hands. Just the warm glow of safety. And across the street, watching with quiet pride, the veterans stood beside their bikes, knowing their mission was complete. But what they didn't expect was how much the girls had transformed them too, reminding them that even after service, their purpose didn't end. Sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they ride motorcycles. Sometimes they show up right when someone needs them most. And sometimes, the smallest act of courage can change the world for someone else. If stories of kindness and second chances inspire you, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Valley. And ask yourself, when was the last time you stood up for someone who couldn't stand up for themselves? The road home became safe again, because a group of veterans decided that no child should ever walk it alone.